Hi, I'm Edward, and today I want to talk about what you can learn from nothing. And I know that it might sound a little bit paradoxical, learning from nothing, and I know how it feels, but let me tell you a story about one of my unforgettable trips. Dobro poszedł Well, this means just welcome, nice to meet you in Russian. And I exactly made the same perplexed look when I first arrived in Russia. This summer, I went to Russia with 4 of my other high school friends after graduation. And our sole goal, actually, was to ride the Trans-Siberian Railway, which would take us all the way from Vladivostok to Moscow. It was a 6-day trip, and the train would ride along the 9,300 kilometer long track. And in this train, actually no one in our crew, including me, had rode a train for such a long time. So we had absolutely no idea about how the trip would be. So when we first rode on the train, we were faced with an itinerary also written in Russian, and a small yet cozy looking 2 sets of double-decker beds. That was where we were going to spend the time for the next 6 days. So I rode on the train, and I unpacked, and I lied on my seat, and I took out my phone, as I would always usually do. And I opened my Instagram, and the train started moving. And as soon as I tried to upload yay on Instagram, my phone said, no internet connection. Well, as it is a 9,300 kilometer railway, there was almost no internet on the train. There were only internet connections on the train stations, but it meant that most of the time there would be no internet. So I had to find a way to spend my time. I had some movies that I downloaded, so I watched them, but at the very first day I ran out of movies. Now, I just kept sleeping. I slept nighttime, daytime, I didn't care. I just wanted to spend my time. However, even after sleeping for such a long time, I still had quite a time left. So I had to find other ways to spend time. I told you that I rode the train with 4 of my other high school friends, so the 5 of us just started small talks. And I know it might sound like a cliche, but through the talks, I thought I knew my friends well for the past 6 years, but after I keep talking, I heard new ideas from them, and I also got to know what they wanted to do in the future, and that was a quite new experience. Now, after the talks, we also had individual times, so I needed other means to solve my individual times. Because this is a problem actually, I had too much time. So, I started reading books. Next please. Yes, thank you. I took my books just in case, because I really didn't think that I'll be reading books in this train. Because after I entered college, I was too into SNS that I lost interest in reading books. However, in the train, I was left with no internet and the books, so I had no option to read the books. And I kept reading them. And it turned out that reading books could also be funny. And till this day, I am reading books after this trip too. And also, in other pastimes, when I really didn't want to read books in the train, I would look out the window and look at the beautiful scenery of Russia. Well, it was mostly trees and lakes, but anyways, it was beautiful. So I got to contemplate a lot, think about myself. And I started to think, hey, what about I write these ideas? So I started writing essays, short novels, or travelogues. And if you go to the next page, yes. These are some of the pages that I've been writing on the train. I was drawing, I was writing travelogues, and actually this helped me a lot because till this day, I'm writing all of that happened in my diary. And it certainly changed my life for a bit. And however, the 6-day time was actually not a long time only for me, but also for other people riding the train. So we got to talk with other Russian people also riding the train. However, there was a sole problem of no means of communication. On the beginning of this presentation, I introduced you a welcome guest, a welcoming meant in Russian. However, I knew nothing about Russian. And the Russian friend also knew nothing about English or Korean. We had the problem of not having means of communication. So, we used our motions, simple motions, to exchange feelings about how we felt. For instance, fun or tired or hunger kind of feelings. But this was all we could do. So, we wanted to talk more, so we started teaching each other languages. Well, this is Volkan, my Russian friend. And I started teaching him some little simple English words, and he taught me Russian words. And through those exchange of words, we were able to exchange much more fruitful conversation. It was not so complex, but still, we were able to spend time, interesting time in the train. And learning Russian actually helped me a lot, because we were able to befriend other Russians riding the train. By befriending other Russians riding the train, we were able to listen and hear their stories, and also we were able to eat some of the Russian foods that they would sometimes share with us. And through that, I was able to learn Russian culture by skin. The next pictures that you're about to see are some of the Russian people that we befriended on the train. And this certainly was an interesting experience. However, I was able to learn only a small amount of Russian vocabulary for such a short amount of time, meaning I wouldn't be able to express all my feelings accurately. So I needed other means of communicating. So I started drawing. I hold my pen, and instead of writing, I started drawing. And it became my other means of remembering and communicating. Well, this is Sean, another friend that I met at the train. We were talking and we were introducing about ourselves. And I actually wanted to show him how I thought about this young, bright man. So I drew a portrait of him quickly. And I gave it to him and said, "This is how I see you." And he said, "You certainly made my train trip funny and interesting." And actually, that was the prime moment that I was proud of the trip, actually. So, after 6 days of long trip, we finally arrived in Russia, Moscow, I mean. And in Moscow, well, at the beginning, I certainly think there were many deficiencies and difficulties and concerns regarding, can we survive this train trip? However, now as I recall it, I believe it was one of the best trips. Well, looking on the bright side, because I had no internet, I got to read my books. I got to write more and contemplate about myself, while not knowing and not being able to communicate in English helped me learn Russian and improve my drawing skills and make me contemplate about my own means of communicating. And that's why I believe this trip was one of the best trips I've had. I believe trip, or learning something, is detaching yourself from usualness and heading on to awkwardness. And not knowing something or having deficiencies in something means that you have extra space for something else. And I think that is the point where you learn something else. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Now, let's head on to the agenda. I believe we have about 6 to 7 minutes to talk about. I have 2 basic questions, and they're connected. First question would be, what obstacles did you face in your life regarding detachment, regarding something newness? And the second question would be, in which part of your life did you face it, and what did you learn from it, if you learned something? I want to share some ideas here. Are there any volunteers who would like to exchange